Adventures of Donald McQueen, Bibliographer. Chapter 6. The Backside of the Moon. My name is Donald McQueen. I am a bibliographer, and these are my adventures. At the end of the last chapter, I had fallen asleep on the train from Knoxford to London town, and now I was awoken from a very pleasant dream in which a battalion of weebles conspired to defrock and then execute my nemesis, the bogus bibliographer Cornelius Bunce, by the arrival of the train at Paddington Station. As most readers will know, the station is now a lawless place, ruled by a gang of Peruvian bears under their leader, who has adopted the name of the station of which he is now the tyrannical ruler. These ursine vagabonds wait for each train to arrive and then terrorize the passengers as they try to leave, demanding marmalade sandwiches with menaces. The police and the railway authorities appear powerless to stop them, but I am a wise old traveller and was able to propitiate the two hairy and duffel-coated thugs who blocked my way as I attempted to leave the compartment with a brown paper bag containing no fewer than 4 of the longed-for sandwiches. Currant buns are also currency, as well as currenty, and honey is money to members of the Paddington gang, but it is the marmalade butty which is held in the highest regard. And with my bag of 4 of the precious things, I was able to buy my way out of the carriage, and even a little grudging smile from the larger of the two ruffians. I also bought the freedom, and thereby the gratitude, of my fair travelling companion, who was clearly an innocent abroad and had expected no such demands from bears at Paddington Station. As she walked briskly away down the darkening platform, I made a point of not admiring her finely formed posterior. A short journey in a four-wheeler brought me to the rooms of the Duodecimo Club in Pall Mall. This is, of course, the preferred meeting place of bibliographers of all ranks, species, and nations. Members are welcomed warmly in an atmosphere of fraternal equality, provided only that they are bibliographers. A few of the most distinguished librarians are admitted too, on sufferance. The club was founded in 1877 by Henry Bradshaw, the father of modern bibliography, but it was at first a sad failure. He initially christened it the Duodecimo Club, and one of its primary rules was, not unnaturally, that members could only enter the club's rooms in 16s. This noble rule proved disastrous, since no bibliographer could gather together as many as 15 fellow members, so that no one actually entered the club for the first 4 years of its existence. In 1881, Bradshaw made an Herculean effort and accumulated 16 members, and so was able to breach the building at last and convene a committee, which immediately renamed the institution the Duodecimo Club and changed the rules so that only 12 members were needed before they could enter. But gatherings in 12s proved almost as difficult to achieve as those in 16s, and there were only 3 occasions between 1881 and 1890 when members of the Duodecimo actually entered their Pall Mall rooms and enjoyed the club's lavish facilities. So in 1891, the name and rules of the club were changed once more, and the Duodecimo Club was born, which could be entered by modest gatherings in 6s. This proved much more practicable, and little informal sextets of bibliographers were established by telegram in order to gain access. Today, of course, we have a WhatsApp group to coordinate our visits to the club, ensuring that 6 members coincide in the anteroom at the same moment. Over the years, the club has led the way in its liberal approach to membership. In 1877, of course, there was no such thing as a female bibliographer, but as soon as the species evolved, ladies were welcomed into the Duodecimo. It was recognized, too, that great bibliographers were not necessarily human or living, and our first Womble member was elected in 1919, our first zombie in 1926, our first sapient pig in 1939, and our first Muppet in 1995, although Dr. Honeydew was expelled the following year for faking a collation formula. This was the happy establishment at which I arrived almost at the stroke of midnight. In the antechamber, known to members as the prelims, I found 5 other members waiting for me. I was the last, and apologized to my fellows for making them wait there beneath the portraits of the two greatest bibliographers of modern times. Mr. Bradshaw's austere figure, heavily side-whiskered and wearing his famous scarlet-lined cape, was hung above the great fireplace, and there, beside the red velvet-covered door which gave onto the club proper, was the recently commissioned painting of Pootle, the bibliographical flump, whose life had been so cruelly cut short when he had been murdered by a neighbour, enraged by his playing of the flumpet deep into the night. My fellow members were all known to me. There was Michael Ribbright, the much-admired president of the Bibliographical Society, Peter Pinkelman, who I have already mentioned, Anne-Marie Crinkle, who wrote the standard work on trolleybus tickets, Daniela Oz, renowned for her beauty, singing voice, and knowledge of the long sextodecimo, known as the Devil's format, and Joanna Lumley, an accomplished amateur bibliographer who has been studying the part works of Dickens in what time she can spare from her busy profession of being Joanna Lumley. I was a little surprised to see Pinkelman, as I had not known he was in the country. Joanna, too, was an unexpected sight. Last I had heard of her, she was pursuing little Dorrit up the Mississippi. I greeted her. "Lumley! Lovely to see you."
"Please, call me Joanna."
"Very well. Joanna. And Pinkelman?" "Hello, Queenie. Please call me Joanna, too." "Really?" "No, I'm joking. Please call me Peter." "I'd rather stick with Pinkelman, if you don't mind. I'm not sure I could ever really see you as a Peter. Always a Pinkelman." "As you wish. I confess I was relieved to see you, Queenie. I was beginning to worry that our sixth leaf might be Flora. She's not coming tonight, is she?" "I don't think so." "Thank heavens." He smiled nervously, and I caught a flash of his perfect teeth, a manifestation of the most expensive American dentistry which had corrected the damage Flora had done with her spanner 2 decades earlier. As we were now 6, the custodian of the red velvet door, an immense mulatto dressed as a harlequin, turned the great silver key in the lock and admitted us to the clubhouse proper. Inside, the smell of old leather and cannabis was intoxicating. In the firelight, the decorated spines of the many tomes in the shelves which lined the walls glistened like the veins in the torso of a Fijian maiden with golden blood. There were other members already inside the club, seated in the wing chairs which flanked the bookshelves, reading small leather-bound books by candlelight or playing Twister before the great fire which lit and warmed the room. There is a rather delightful clock in the Duodecimo Club, designed by Strickland Gibson in 1913. It consists of 3 mechanical brass hands, each of which turns the leaves of a book with perfect irregularity. The rightmost hand turns 1 leaf every second, and the book has 60 leaves. The central hand turns 1 leaf every minute, and the book has likewise 60 leaves. The leftmost hand turns 1 leaf every hour, and its book has 24 leaves. When a hand reaches the final page in its book, it closes it up completely, then reopens it, and begins to turn the leaves again from the beginning. The time is read by looking at the numbers printed on the visible rectos of the openings of the books displayed. As I passed the great clicking, whirring, swishing machine, I noticed that the hour book showed a 0 and the minute book a 7, while the leaves of the second book were turning too quickly for me to fix on a specific time, but the numbers were at that moment in the 20s. Thus it was approaching 7.5 minutes past midnight. On the hour, when the minute book is closed, a series of chimes is generated by a 4th brass hand, which emerges from a flap and flicks a small bell like a shop bell attached to the front cover of the minute book. The leaves of the books are of parchment, but even so, the second book quickly becomes worn by constant use and has to be reprinted every year. The minute book needs to be replaced only every 60 years. The hour book has never needed such treatment. It is assumed it will last for 3,600 years. Suddenly Pinkelman loomed out of the darkness. "Well, Queenie, have you solved the mystery of the Codex?" "Yes, I have." "Really? Well, what's the solution?" "I cannot tell you now. I have evidence to marshal, tables to compile, beta radiographs to order and clear for copyright. I will publish the results of my research shortly, and my words will shake the world." "You mean the bibliographical world?" "No, Pinkelman, I mean the whole world." He smiled lopsidedly and slunk away. I had, in truth, no idea of a solution to the mystery, and would at that moment have been willing to accept any suggestion on the matter, however absurd. I recalled a crazy theory proposed by a long-disgraced librarian named Kleinwald, who had sworn that the first edition of the Codex had not been printed at all, but was written by trained caterpillars, who dipped themselves in ink and then danced across the pages, laying down Scrotus's text character by character. When pressed on the question of how the caterpillars could have repeated the task so precisely over the course of some 3 decades, he suggested first that they had been taught the entire text and recalled it perfectly each time they danced, which appeared a little far-fetched. And then, realizing that most caterpillars live only for a few months before they pupate, went on to propose a sort of school in which caterpillars would teach one another the text so that they could perpetuate their work, which seemed a little bit more unlikely. However, at that moment I felt ready to reconsider the theory. Was it possible? Could caterpillars hold the key? Surely not. There had to be some other solution. I patted the trumpet in my pocket and remembered its power. I had in my keeping a wonderful tool which could help me to solve the mystery of the Codex Asinorum and give substance to my empty boasts to Pinkelman if only I could learn to use it. I determined to try again at that moment and excused myself from the reading room where a new game of Twister was just about to begin, and made my way to the 3rd floor where a suite of rooms had been prepared for my stay. I quickly lay down upon the 4-poster and fitted the instrument to my ear, musing hard upon the time and place of the creation of that first edition of the Codex. But instead of being transported to Mainz or thereabouts in 1460 or thenabouts, I found myself again in the early 1970s. This is the log of the starship Venus, Captain Jonathan T. Hanson in command. The year is 2020, and on a mission to probe the second planet of our solar system, the most well-equipped and advanced starship of His Majesty's Royal Astro Navy was blown clear across the galaxy by a quantum explosion on the planet's red-hot surface. Travelling at 100 times the speed of light, we managed at last to apply the handbrake and found ourselves in deep space. With no maps to guide us and no way to return home, or even an inkling of where home now was, we had no choice but to drive on, past psychedelically coloured planets and strange glowing nebulae, armed only with the finest crew in the Astro Navy and a battery of powerful and terrifying futuristic weapons. This is the Venus probe. We're on the Venus probe, here on the Venus probe. This is the Venus probe, into space. We're on the Venus probe, you should have seen us probe. We're on the Venus probe, and it says we're on the starship Venus. By Jove, you should have seen us. Our figurehead is gold and red, hand of the mermaid genus. The captain's name is Handsome, he's worth the prince's ransom. He let his crew use not a few rude words, but had to ban some. The surgeon's name is Chopper, his scalpel is a whopper. His rectal probes with shiny globes are deep but not improper. Here on the Venus probe, we're on the Venus probe. This is the Venus probe, into space. We're on the Venus probe, you should have seen us probe. Here on the Venus probe, and it says last week, the greatest minds of the starship Venus, myself, Commander Flaflaff, the twin computers Reggie and Ronnie, Rear Admiral Devonish, whose mind is trapped in the body of Doggerel, the ship's cat, and the entire ship's orchestra were gathered to investigate the curious behaviour of Chief Engineer Green. Just as we learned that he had been replaced with a robot by some alien power, 3 terrifying and hideous alien creatures began to materialize in briefing room 3. Indeed, so unprepossessing were their faces that I was moved to profanity and cried out, "My aunt!"
We are the Contradictons from the planet Nope. You will bow and tremble before us.
We will not bow and tremble before you.
Yes, you will.
Why should we?
Because we told you to.
Morgan, Green, take out your blazers and cover our guests, please.
I'm no wearing my blazer, Captain.
Standing orders are that blazers are to be worn at all times. Flufflaff, have you your blazer? Good. Orchestra, do you have yours?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Now cover our guests. Thank you, gentlemen. Please set your blazers to obliterate. Now, aliens, tell us what you are doing here.
No.
Are you responsible for replacing Chief Engineer Green with a robot?
Perhaps.
Where is the real Green? I demand to know.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. I want to know where Green is.
No, you are not interested at all.
Yes, I am.
No way. You are thinking about scones.
Scones? Do you mean scones?
Captain, would you let me speak to these aliens? I have had some experience of dealing with contradictons on my home planet of Garamond 12. We once fought a long and bloody war with them, which ended only when we finally understood the nature of their reasoning.
Very well, if you think you can communicate with the brutes.
I don't understand you contradictons at all.
Yes, you do. You understand us perfectly.
I know that you do not have Green. Green is still here.
Rubbish. We do have Green. Green is our prisoner.
I do not believe you. Green is not in your hands.
Yes, he is. He is in a cupboard on a spaceship parked on the other side of that moon.
That's all we needed to know. Obliterate them, men. Well done, Morgan and orchestra. Especially good blazer action from the second bassoon. But, Flufflaff, you didn't fire.
Well, sir, I think you were a little too quick on the trigger there. A few more statements contradicted could have brought us more information.
We know all we need to know. Green, our Green, is being held prisoner in a cupboard on board a Contradicton spaceship parked on the backside of that moon. We must mount a rescue mission. To the bridge. But first, Morgan, clear away those alien bodies, would you?
Yes, sir, but what shall we do with Green? I mean, the robot Green.
Let's stick a plaster on his hand and send him back to work. How do you feel now, Green?
I feel fine, sir. Ready for duty.
Can we trust him, Captain?
There's only one way to find out. Back to your post, Green.
Aye, aye, sir.
Reggie, please monitor Green very closely and alert me at the first sign of any treacherousness.
Do I have to?
Yes, you have to. Ronnie, please take this duty in turns with Reggie. Whose idea was it to have two computers?
That was the brilliant notion of our inventors, Mr. Potato Head and his twin brother, Mr. Tomato Head, a pair of unemployed plumbers from Stratham.
Before we go to the bridge and begin our rescue mission, there is something you should know, sir. The Contradictons are an advanced race with space travel, teleportation, and radioactive spaghetti at their disposal, but the robot Green is far more advanced than anything they could have manufactured with their own technology.
You mean?
Yes, someone or something else is behind the abduction and replacement of our chief engineer. We are facing an enemy even more advanced, more powerful than the Contradictons. I thought you ought to know. It is a shame we had to deal with the inhabitants of Nope. The next planet in their system is called Bye-Bye and is inhabited by the Valedictons. They're no trouble at all. They're always off, somewhere nice.
Captain, may we please resume our rehearsal?
Very well. Strike up the Brahms, while you and I, Flufflaff, will repair to the bridge. Status report, Flufflaff.
We are on the starship Venus, Captain, but I suppose you want a little more data. We are now in a stationary orbit around the largest moon of the planet Beta Tauri in the Aldebaran system. Beta Tauri is a wild and windswept orb inhabited only by a few hairy carnivorous turnips and flocks of yellow stormbirds, and the moon is quite barren. But beneath us, parked in a crack on the back side of the moon, is a spaceship of unknown configuration.
The Contradictons?
Negative, Captain. This is something far more advanced.
Can we see it on the Visiport?
There, Captain.
I see no ships.
It is cleverly disguised, sir. The ship is very advanced indeed, and takes on the colour and texture of whatever it is seen against, like your Earth chameleon.
How very unsettling. Reggie, please scan that ship and tell us what you can.
Ronnie can do it.
I asked you, Reggie. Please oblige.
All right, I'm scanning. It is a ship of unknown configuration, made of an unknown metal, around twice the size of the Venus, and occupied by 1 human, 127 alien life forms, and 1 sentient vegetable.
A vegetable, you say? What sort of a vegetable?
Insufficient data.
I have a horrible feeling. Could this be? Are you thinking what I am thinking, Flufflaff? Could this be our arch-enemies from episodes 3 and 9, the dreaded Garlics?
We knew they would return.
Yes, after we ran out of supplies 6 months ago and raided that vegetable planet, we had the battle of our lives. The other inhabitants were easy meat, or vegetables. The peaceful carrot fish, the nutritious rainbow sprout, the magnificent Shire horseradish, the sweet peacock, the friendly broccoli dog. I could go on.
We had a bit of trouble with the spudulycanthropes.
Oh yes, the ware potatoes. They could only be mashed with a silver fork. But they were no trouble at all compared with the Garlics. Who would have thought such small creatures, pale and bulbous, could be so powerful? Flufflaff, could we be dealing with a Garlic here?
I believe not, sir. This chameleon-like spaceship does not smell of garlic. They are most unsavoury vegetables, which attack and overpower at the slightest provocation. But we have here a subtle and fathomless alien species. We cannot even see their ship. Our scanners tell us it is there, and that there are life forms aboard. But when we ask the questions, who are they? Why have they taken Green and replaced him with a robot? What is their little game? We are stumped.
Reggie and Ronnie, can you provide any answers?
I am stumped. Reggie is always stumped. His logic matrix is 2 electrodes short of a triode. At least I have a logic matrix. They say Ronnie's was eaten by a space weasel, which mistook it for a peanut. I'll punch your dim lights out, you transistorized shit.
Please, electronic gentlemen, do not argue. Ronnie, can you answer my question?
No, I am stumped.
Well, then we must try to get aboard the spaceship and rescue Green. Suggestions, please, Flufflaff.
It is vexing that while such relatively primitive species as the Contradictons, and even the Morons, and the Borons of the Inhuman Resources Nebula, who spend 90% of their time on professional development and annual reviews, have invented teleportation, we still have to rely upon a lift to take us down to the surface of any planets we wish to explore. If we could teleport directly into the chameleon ship, we could overpower the aliens and rescue Green, then teleport out again. But as things stand, entrance to and egress from the alien ship is our main problem.
Do the aliens know we are here?
They must. We have to assume that their scanners are at least as advanced as our own, and it seems likely that the 3 Contradictons we obliterated were sent to us from that ship. For some reason, we obliterated them too early to fathom.
Then why do they not attack? Shall we try communicating with them? Very well. Wireless Mistress Lovely.
Yes, Captain?
Please send a morose code message to the alien ship saying, "We come in peace. Give us back Chief Engineer Green, or we will blast you into eternity with our star cannons."
Aye, aye, Captain.
Meanwhile, Reggie, please scan that ship again and see if you can determine whether there are any doors or entrances which we might blazer our way through.
Very well. I am scanning. of ever-changing shape, and lies close against the surface of the moon in a wide crevasse. Its surface resembles a liquid, but there are two solid doors, one at each end, a front door and a back door. They are not liquid, but made of solid neutronium, so that even our blazers would be ineffective against them. But in the back door there is a small hinged hatch, which seems to be unlocked.
You mean?
Yes, Captain. The spaceship has a cat flap.
I see. First Mate Cooper, please bring Doggerel to the bridge in his basket.
Aye, aye, sir.
Ah, First Mate Cooper. I predict a glowing career for him. He is known as Super Duper Trooper Cooper. He never complains about his duties, which include emptying Doggerel's dirt tray with his pooper scooper. He has never made a blooper, though he did once develop a facial tic and winked himself into a stupor.
I think we can overlook the winking, Flufflaff. Unlike you Claudians, we humans do a lot of winking. Ah, Cooper and Doggerel, I'm asking for volunteers for a mission to rescue Chief Engineer Green. We need someone who can get into an alien ship through a cat flap.
Mew,
Thank you, Doggerel. You are a brave cat.
mew.
What is your plan, Captain? I should point out that Doggerel will hardly be able to open the door of the alien ship from the inside due to his lack of height and thumbs. And if he could find and rescue Green, which is doubtful, he would never be able to squeeze a fat Scotsman out through a cat flap.
This will be a reconnaissance mission, gentlemen. Doggerel will enter the enemy spaceship through the cat flap and explore every part of the vessel, identifying the crew and the nature of their weaponry, locating Green, and then reporting back to us so that we can mount an armed rescue mission.
I will.
Thank you, Doggerel.
A wise plan, Captain, but I can foresee two potential problems. Firstly, where there is a cat flap, there must be cats, or cat-like creatures, so that Doggerel may meet hostile furry felines in that ship who will not welcome a newcomer to their territory. We can hardly equip him with a blazer, even a mini blazer, due to his aforementioned lack of thumbs. He will be in considerable danger.
That is why I asked for a volunteer, Flufflaff. This is no job for a pressed man or a pressed cat. Doggerel understands the risks.
I do.
You see, he does. We will prepare a posthumous medal for Doggerel in the event that he does not return.
Thank you.
My second concern is with the reconnaissance data Doggerel will gather. He can observe better than any man, but his ability to tell us what he has seen is limited indeed. However, I have a suggestion. If Doggerel returns from his mission, I could attempt the Claudian probe, which would allow my consciousness to enter his and ferret around in his mind and memories, which I could then report to you.
An excellent plan, Flufflaff. But does the Claudian probe not require you to stick your finger up?
Yes, it does. But in this case, I am prepared to attempt it for the greater good.
Meow.
I say again what I have said many times before, that the Starship Venus has the finest crew in His Majesty's Royal Astro Navy. Now, Cooper, please take Doggerel off to the space lift, and thence to the planet's surface, as near to the chameleon spaceship as you can manage without hitting it. And Doggerel, good luck, brave pussy. Our thoughts and prayers are with you.
Fuck you.
If not the Contradictons, who are the powerful and advanced aliens parked on the backside of the moon? Will the brave cat Doggerel be able to enter their spaceship by the cat flap and rescue Chief Engineer Green? Join me, Captain Handsome, to find out in the next thrilling episode of The Venus Globe.
I removed the trumpet from my ear hole and glanced at my pocket watch. It was past 1, and I was beginning to feel a little snoozesome. I had not the mental energy to try again to contact the world of the Codex that night, so determined to put it off until the following morning, when I would be fortified by sleep and breakfast. And so I placed the trumpet carefully upon my bedside cabinet, and this chapter of my adventures ends, just like the last, with my falling into a deep and dreamful sleep. The Adventures of Donald McQueen, bibliographer. Today's chapter was sponsored by the Bibliographical Society of London and by Shickles Pickles, the finest range of condiments known to man. It was written and performed by Paul W. Nash, with special guest Alison Felstead as Wireless Mistress Lovely. Next time, in The Adventures of Donald McQueen, bibliographer. And now over to Plum Valley Police Headquarters for a crime warning. Good evening. My name is Chief Inspector Nick Buckle, and I speak with the policeman's drawl. My brother Vincent Buckle is a clergyman of the Church of England, and speaks with the vicarly drawl of his profession. You know the kind of thing.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered together in the sight of God. Today's lesson is taken from the 3rd book of Leviticus. There was an old lady from Ealing.
But I digress. I bring today a warning of a crime spree in the Knoxford area committed by gangs of masked penguins. Their targets are high-powered and prestigious motor cars, which they steal and joyride round the city before crashing or abandoning the vehicles and scampering away. They are believed to have begun their life of crime only recently, after growing bored with playing Grand Theft Auto on their PlayStations. Their modus operandi is to work in groups of 4. One penguin breaks the offside window with his flipper, and all 4 somersault into the vehicle. One hotwires the engine, which takes about 7 seconds, and they drive off, with one penguin standing in the driving seat and operating the steering wheel, and 2 in the passenger seat, one manipulating the gear stick, while a 4th crouches in the footwell, working the pedals with his flippers. This is not a safe method of propelling an automobile, and is strictly forbidden by the highway code. The penguins have been heard to squawk with glee as they reach speeds of up to 90 miles an hour in Knoxford's otherwise peaceful streets. So far we have not arrested any of the culprits, who fled the scene of each incident too quickly for any of our officers to catch them. Be warned, these are dangerous penguins. If you own a powerful or pretentious motor car, such as a Mercedes or an Aston Martin, you should immobilise it when parked, and ideally install penguin-proof glass in all the windows. If you see any groups of 4 or more penguins in the Knoxford area walking along your street with swaggering gait, listening to hip-hop on their iPods, please run and tell a policeman. I should make it plain that the Plum Valley Police has no prejudicial opinions about penguins per se. I have met several penguins who were perfectly decent and law-abiding, but these black and white car thieves must be stopped. Together we can beat this penguin menace. Thank you. I wonder if there are any other professions apart from policeman and vicar which have their own drawl. Cowboy, perhaps? Is cowboy a profession? Yokel? No, yokel isn't a profession. Is it?